Director of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool. Welcome to our third virtual Campfire Chat. Today, you'll learn a little bit about Dodge's impact on the community, learn more about our Nourishing Everyone's Need for Nature campaign. And you might want to make a note that our next Campfire Chat will be April 21st with our Farm Director, Don Oberdorfer. And who knows what could be possible with that one. I'm guessing there may be a few cameos from maybe some baby farm animals because it is springtime at the farm. So please look for emails, social media, those types of things for our next Campfire Chat April 21st. We've had some great chats. Amy from our preschool, Pam with some of our animals here on the main property, and today, very fortunate to have Pete Cleary with us. If you have questions for Pete or myself as the program goes along, please use the chat function or the Q&A that's at the bottom of your screens. We would love to hear from you and answer any questions that you may have regarding Dodge Nature Center, our programming, our campaign, any of those. We look forward to answering those at the end of the program. So without further ado, Pete is our Environmental Education Director, and he leads a team of extremely talented naturalists who have had to adapt their ways of hands-on learning for the last 12 months. I couldn't be more proud of Dodge and how we have continued to nourish everyone's need for nature. Take it away, Pete.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, I'm Pete Cleary. I'm the Environmental Education Director here at Dodge. I started here as an intern in 1993, and have held various positions throughout here during that long stretch of a career. And I would say this has been the most challenging last year that we've faced, or that I can remember. Last year at this time, we were coming off of Frosty Fun Fest, and you saw the pictures in the video. Literally thousands of people were on site here on a beautiful day, and it was great. We had just tons of people on the ponds, kick sledding and out snowshoeing and gathering around, and it fell off from there. And when we came to shut down, we shut down hard, and we canceled programs and processed refunds. We had to cancel spring break camp. We had to cancel summer camp. And we closed it down to just trails and keeping animals going. And at that point, one of our naturalists, Pam Lesevich, came to me and said, you know what, Heritage Middle School has gone to all virtual programming. Are you okay with me filming stuff for them to use? And I said, of course I am. That would be great. That's a great way to keep our partnership going with them, and it could provide things for teachers so that they can still continue to have Dodge for their kids at school that's at home. Then I'm all for it. And so she started filming, and her film crew was her son, Aiden, and started filming, and with the help of Rosie Johnson, editing the films to be able to be used. And I was like, yep, I'll greenlight another one. She kept doing more and more. And she said, is it okay if I'm sending them to teachers I know at St. Paul Public School so they can use them with their kids too? And I was like, absolutely, 100%. And I reached out to the school district and said, what else can we do? And so we started with very little experience in creating digital content. And honestly, but just the enthusiasm for doing it. Very little technology other than people filming with their phones or filming with the iPads that we scavenged out of the library and history center. We just set about creating content, and whether it was videos or even our naturalist fellows were creating video content, both coloring pages, short videos that could be used, and things that would replicate some of the stuff that we would be doing in classes in the spring. In fact, actually, we have Julia Pedersen, just a short section of a film by Julia Pedersen, very educational, but honestly, that wasn't how we recruited anybody. But take a look, and this is just an example of what you can find on our YouTube channel, which last year at this time, I wouldn't have said YouTube channel. So here we go.
Hi everyone, it's Julia from Dodge Nature Center, and today we're going on a hike and talking about Minnesota wildlife. Today we're going to visit just a few of Minnesota's habitats and hopefully find some signs of wildlife. Let's go. The first habitat we'll visit is a wetland. Looking at the edge of the water, you can see a great blue heron. Minnesota lakes, rivers, and streams are a great home for animals like the great blue heron, whose diet includes things like small fish, amphibians, and reptiles. Another common animal found in Minnesota wetlands are beavers. You can see this one swimming not far from where that heron was wading. Beavers are incredible swimmers, and they have several adaptations that make life in the water easier. One thing that they have is that their lips are able to close behind their large front teeth, which enables them to carry branches in their mouths without letting water into their airway. The next habitat we're going to visit is the prairie. And I've found a hole in the ground just off the path, a sign that someone's been digging. Animals like voles, mice, and moles use their hands to dig these tunnels, and other animals like snakes will kind of take over these to use for shelter. The prairie is a great spot to look up into the sky because there aren't any trees obstructing your view, and looking up today, high above you can see a bald eagle. And even though this eagle looks far away, they have exceptional vision, which allows them to see their prey even from way up there. And once their prey is spotted, they'll dive down, and using their powerful talons, they'll grab their prey and dig their talons into it and carry it off. The last habitat we'll visit today is the forest. No surprise here, the first animal we see in the forest is a gray squirrel. These animals are quite common in Minnesota and highly adapted to living in populated areas. There's a wild turkey walking down our trail. This is a male turkey. They're sometimes called toms or gobblers, and what distinguishes him from a female are his fanned out tail feathers, his featherless blue head, and the beard of hair-like feathers that fall from his chest, which you can see when he turns to the side there. The color of a male turkey's head actually can change color from blue to red based on how excited they are. Thanks for joining me on this hike. I hope you learned something new about Minnesota wildlife that you can share with others. Be kind to nature, and we'll see you next time.
So that was the example in spring of last year where we just started switching gears and figured out not what we couldn't do, but what we actually still could do. And if we weren't able to gather with people out here at Dodge, then we would bring Dodge to them. And going forward from that, we started hiring our new naturalist fellows to start in June, all virtually. And so we met them finally in June when they moved in. And during that time, I met with our program staff and said, how do we safely offer summer camp? We had to take our 7 weeks of camp and drop it back down to 5. We waited a couple of weeks just to let everything clear, and then found a way to do masked and distance summer camp for smaller groups of kids. We weren't able to do any 5th through 8th grade camps, but we're still able to do small groups of camps for kids throughout the summer. And just being able to do that alone is an incredible thing for us. We were able to do outreach still safely to a lot of different organizations last summer. But yeah, and honestly kept on filming during that time. So if you check out our YouTube channel or look on our website, you'll still be able to see lots of different things. And what you don't see is the behind the scenes part where we became film crews. People like, it wasn't on anybody's job description of editing or set placement or sound or any of that. But it was great practice, because by the time summer was ending, I met with the principals from some of the local elementaries, and the numbers were rising. And so it looked as if they were going to start the school year delayed, but then move into a hybrid format. So they would have some of the kids there for some of the days of the week, and another set of kids another day on other days of the week. And I said, but if you can't get on the bus to come to Dodge Nature Center, how can we bring environmental education to you? And they said, oh, that's possible. And I said, I don't see why not. If we're teaching a class about trees to kindergartners and you have trees on your site, our naturalists will be able to use what you have around your school to be able to teach your kids. And so we might have to come out more, because we'll have to come out on Monday for your A group and Friday for your B group. But it's definitely a possibility, and we can figure out a way to offer it for kindergarten through 4th grade most easily. And they said, will you be able to do a virtual lesson for the kids that are all distance learning? And I thought, well, we've been practicing, so yeah, we can. And that's when I learned about Google Meets. And that's when all of our staff learned about Google Meets and how to get in and how best to present virtually to students that are distance learning from home. And so through the fall, we were virtually meeting and in-person meeting with the students until the numbers rose to such a point that there weren't any kids in school. Before that happened, though, I noticed that there were so many kids that must be distance learning or hybrid kids where a Wednesday would be an okay time to be able to do something else. We just decided we would do outdoor learning days. So 8:15 to 3:15, we'd have kids here in small groups, almost solely outside, exploring, recording phonology, gathering data, and doing activities throughout the day that didn't involve screens, that didn't involve Zoom meetings, that didn't involve having to be muted. And we offered that to kids, and we had some kids coming. They're like, yeah, well, today was a hybrid day, but I asked the teacher if I can just go to Dodge instead. And none of the teachers said no. They all said, yeah, just let us know what you did during your time there. And the amount of science that we actually packed in to for first through fourth grade was amazing in that time. And so we still have recorded sheets of data up of all the different weather things that happened, of all the animal sightings that they made when the ice came to the pond, the thickness of the ice. Yeah, that was great. And so we invented an entire new program just to serve needs where one of the moms was like, this is the first time my son's been out of the house to anywhere in months. And I said, you enjoy this time until 3:15, but I expect you back here at 3:15 because I would like to see him again next week. And so it was her first time of being able to do what she wanted to do and not have to be the teacher. And I think it was valuable and important. And we continued it on until the time when everybody went back to school. And so it was real important during that time when everybody was distance learning that we were able to offer new programming and get kids outside safely. Gathering with peers, distance and mask, but still give them environmental education experiences that they wouldn't get otherwise. When they return to school, then we've been working to develop units that we can take out to their school. There are actually maple sap buckets at every elementary school, hanging on a maple tree at every elementary school in West St. Paul at this moment, gathering sap that the teachers are using for whatever they want. But we've done maple syrup in classes for all of them at their school, and then being able to conduct virtual lessons remotely here. And that only came about with the help from District 197. They gave to us 2 mobile hotspots so that we could get beyond the range of our Wi-Fi, which it's not very much or more than just our office. But we were able to get out onto different spots of the property and be able to have one person in front of the camera, one person behind the camera, and be able to do live virtual lessons for kids that are distance learning. We found out that our technology, the iPads that we're using, don't function real well in cold temperatures. And so during our winter technology and traditional shelters classes, we found that if it's 10 degrees outside, you have about 10 minutes of filming before the iPad freezes up and you lose everything. And so our program staff decided that we could work around that by one of our naturalists, Teresa, sewed a protective sleeve that could be fitted to the iPad to allow it to still film and pick up sound. And then we packed in hand warmers right onto the battery in the sleeve so that you could go outside and still remain outside. And we hooked an additional battery pack to it so that one person who was filming was carrying a battery pack in one pocket of their coat that was hooked to the iPad. Another pocket had the mobile hotspot, and then on a tripod we had the iPad so that the person who was the tech person could run all of the filming while the naturalist could be on the other side interpreting whatever it was for the kids who are learning from home. And that continues, and I think that's probably going to continue for quite some time. And we've been contracting with places now to do virtual lessons similar to the ones that we've already offered to District 197. And our naturalist, Jeff Bolin, whose liaison to Garlow Environmental Magnet School has been virtual with students, both last spring, and then in the fall, he was both virtual and in person, remaining outside of the school, but being able to do activities with the students there and maintain our partnership with that, and been able to flex with the hybrid changes, going to full distance, coming back to in person, but yet still having some distance learners. He's been very flexible in being able to help meet the needs of the teachers at Garlow Environmental Magnet School. And in likewise fashion, Pamela Lesevich and Teresa Root have been working with the 5th and 7th graders at Heritage Middle School to do that same thing. I know that Pam was able to get there for one day in the fall for the hybrid setup before that changed, and was really looking forward to being able to work with the students in person, and then now is back and able to work with the students in person, as well as still working with the distance learners in a digital fashion. So we've been changing around quite a number of things. We're at the point where we've opened up summer camp registrations for this summer, and it looks on the surface like a traditional 7 weeks of summer camp. We haven't been able to expand it out to older kid camps yet. And our groups are much smaller in size, but we're taking the recommendations of the CDC and the MDH, and we will expand when possible to be able to offer the opportunity to more kids. We did limit it this summer and said, hey, please sign your child up for 1 week of camp so that we can get the most amount of kids out here for the most different experiences. And people have honored that and have been really good about it. And still the summer camp sold out in about 2 hours. And so with digital registration, it was crazy. I hope that we can expand it, but I know like this year has been for me, lots of ideas that maybe we backburnered for a little while. And I'm not saying that pandemic is this great opportunity to try new things, but when I was approached by Mary Dibvig, one of our naturalists, she said, can I run an after school program? I said, well, it's hybrid school and the times have all changed. So yes, what do you want it to be? And she said, I'd like to do a middle school science program for girls only. And I was like, absolutely 100%. That's something that we definitely need to do. Can you do it small group size outside and be very hands-on? And she's like, yeah, of course. And I was like, then we need a girls only science program led by women. I think it's just a home run. And it has been, and it's been largely successful, and continues on to this day. And earlier this year when Pam said, can I do a version of Women in the Woods in a public program for women that sometimes involves a glass of wine? And I was like, yeah, I don't think you can do it in the same way that you have before, but I think that being able to gather people here, some small group outside and safe, is something that we just need to start expanding and doing more of if we can do it safely. And so we check the numbers, we check the recommendations, we figure out what we can do, and then we make it happen. And that's kind of been the theme of this year. We don't have a new normal yet, but our new normal is pretty much the same thing that we've been doing. I'm surrounded by a bunch of creative naturalists, including our naturalist fellows. And so I can greenlight great ideas and have been. And so our naturalist fellows had come up with after school programs and virtual art programs and, all sorts of things where I was just like, yes, of course we can do that. How do I help you? How do we get it done? So it's been a very trying year. I agree. And not simply for Dodge, but for everyone. And when we can offer little bits here and little bits there to get people out into nature and feeling, and creating that bond with them to nature, I think that we'll be expanding that over the course of time as things change around. The one sad part about this year is that a lot of volunteers that we relied on in years past, it just hasn't been safe for us to be able to have them out here with large groups of people. And so I'm looking forward also to being able to have large enough groups where we can get our teacher naturalist volunteers or camp volunteers back in. It's been different meeting by Zoom, most definitely, and but effective. We're still able to be creative, but I think when we get more people in here, and we can get more people together safely, then I think we'll have a great path moving forward. We have done a lot of outreach this year, and for this summer, we've already been taking just Julie Allen's been taking email and call about, are you going to be able to accommodate coming out to our site? And our site can be anywhere seemingly, because we do outreach in the past couple of years, at least 8 counties in Minnesota and into Wisconsin. And so we'll be adding with our campaign, we'll be hopefully adding an outreach specialist to be able to increase the amount of outreach that we can do, especially to groups of financial need. And so right now we do that with scholarships that we have available for groups and for individuals for that matter. But we are able to give them a steeply discounted rate for our programming, and that can be both on-site and off-site. And we have bus funds available to subsidize busing for getting people out here. But no one wants to get in a bus right now, and I agree with that, and that's just what it's going to be for this time. But a lot of places are very okay with us coming to do an outdoor program at their site and be able to eat, whether it's chickens from here or a raptor or snakes and turtles. We have a lot of programming going on like that, both to the local schools and to lots of different places. And I see that as an ever expanding part of what Dodge brings to people. It's great to have people on site, and I know that always isn't the case, and it's not always going to work. And so if we can bring environmental education out to the community, I think that's one of the great parts of Dodge, and that's going to expand in our capital campaign. I've probably forgotten more stuff that we've done this year, but I hope that gives you a snapshot of what it's looked like for the year. I'm seeing a question from Sarah and Clint Beckstrand that says, what has kept me at Dodge for so many years? And honestly, there's a number of different things. Some of the lesser things are the variety of things I get to do each day are amazing. And so whether I'm making maple syrup or putting away kick sleds or going out to meet with preschoolers for no good reason, or it's new stuff every single day, and it's wonderful to come in. The land is great, and I've memorized almost every part of it, and I'm always going out to look to see what's there. That's also great. One of the lesser things, and then probably the thing that's kept me here the longest is the people. The people that I work with are incredibly passionate about what they do. They're incredibly skilled at what they do. They're very willing to take on new challenges every day. And so the people that I get to be with here at work are the reason why I've stayed here for as long as I have, and will continue to do so. And we're hiring 4 new fellows right now who will start in June, and they will add to the strange large family that we have as we say goodbye to the other fellows and the fellows from this year. And honestly, we'll have a new crop of people that we train in, we work side by side with, and our Naturalist Fellowship program this summer, the proposal is into Hamlin to be able to certify it as a 10 credit graduate course. And so hopefully, I got my fingers crossed and knocking on wood, but our proposal is in, and so they'll have to green light that. And then instead, in addition to our housing that we provide for our Naturalist fellows on the property and a weekly stipend that they receive, in addition to all the training and experience that they get, we'll hopefully be able to offer them 10 graduate credits, or 10 credit graduate certificate from Hamlin going forward. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to you for a moment. We're going to have a little bit about our capital campaign, and then we'll return for questions and answers.
Olivia Dodge always sought out the characteristics and interests and passions that other people had, and she respected them and helped them to move forward and grow in their own path.
Mrs. Dodge's legacy is extremely important to this organization, and it's where we started and it's where we built from. She is still impacting people's lives by what we are doing today, and will continue to impact those lives for many years to come.
I think in Minnesota we're too good at keeping secrets, and Dodge has been too well kept a secret for too long. This campaign is really critical to ensure the viability and sustainability of Dodge for the next 50 years and beyond. And one of my hopes is that as a result of this successful campaign, Dodge will not only increase its visibility, but it will increase its audience. It will increase its program offerings. It will increase its range and its reach.
I don't think we can think in terms of an ambitious goal. I think we have to think in terms of how much do we want to protect something that we believe in.
Too many people are presented with too many barriers for meaningful access to the outdoors and connection to nature. And I think we have an opportunity now to really do good work in accessibility and equity in environmental and outdoor education.
I think it just means what I believe in, which is that we all need to have time in a natural setting, to breathe deeply of clear air, to walk and have a vista of green and growing things, and to allow our minds to reach up and think as high our thoughts as we can manage.
We're extremely excited about the Cottage Grove community. When you think back to Dodge Nature Center in 1967, this property was surrounded by farmland. And you look at it today, it sits in the middle of housing, but it's here, it's a resource. Cottage Grove is very similar when you fast forward to 2020.
I think what Shepherd Farm really does for Dodge is it allows it to increase its footprint, increase its visibility, increase the audiences and the numbers served, really press into equitable opportunities for access to nature in the East Metro. Replicate what Dodge is already doing best and most innovative in its field, but also be an incubator for opportunities that we have yet to discover. I'm excited to support this campaign because it's an opportunity to not only ensure the longevity of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool, but support the expansion to Cottage Grove and an entirely new audience.
Cy and I responded to the invitation to support this campaign and work for it because we sensed that the timing was right to build a foundation that would support the base for the future.
Thank you for considering a gift in participation and support of this campaign, the largest campaign in the history of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool, and an opportunity to invest in not only what we're doing now, but ensure the legacy and longevity of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool for the future.
Your support is so important to this. This will allow children to continue to come to Dodge Nature Center, to spend time on our trails, to climb Challenge Hill, to be connected with nature. We want to create experiences for adults as well. We want adults to come back that have sent their children here, to be able to tell the same stories their children are telling them. Experience our programs, experience our trails. Your support is key in allowing that opportunity for Dodge to grow, not just here, but in this community and in classrooms and in schools.
Whatever Dodge means to you, this is an opportunity to continue that innovative work and make sure that Dodge is in a position to succeed as we all go forward at a time when nourishing everyone's need for nature is more important than ever before.
Thanks, Pete, and the video. We've had an amazing launch to our campaign as we launched it to the public in September of 2020. We're closing in on the $31 million mark with plenty of work still to go. to reach our $40 million goal by 2024. But to be out of the gate the way we are today, it's fantastic. And I see the names of the attendees here today, and I see a wide range of volunteers to past staff. When Pete talked about the people, I see some of those people on this list, and it just makes me smile. I feel so good about it, and I hope they also feel so very proud in the important role they have played in this process as well. So, and if you visited Dodge recently, and if you haven't, we hope you come out. You will notice the impact of the campaign already. As we've updated our trail going over to the farm pond had the boardwalk there, and now it's been extended all the way to the main office. Sean Goki, our buildings and grounds director, and his team have been very excited about that new boardwalk. Access to nature is key in this campaign, a very key component, and that's allowing some accessibility to those that are in wheelchair strollers to be able to come to Dodge and get around. And we're very excited as the snow melts and as it gets extremely muddy around here, it sure is nice to have that boardwalk to stay above those muddy grounds, that's for sure. And soon, again, because of the campaign, you'll see a kitchen remodel in the farm education building. Again, one of those things we've talked about for a long time, and kind of the thing that's been on the wish list. We're going to be able to make it happen. And that's really going to allow us to do some expanded programming, some cooking classes over there, because the setup will be more of a cooking kitchen and be able to lead programming, whether it's kids and adults. I saw a question about some adult programming, and that's something that's key for our future is more adult programming, as well as those that are renting space. We've listened to those people that have come in and said, hey, I want to rent your space, but that kitchen just doesn't work well for the catering piece or making the food, and how can we improve that? So we're doing that. We're going to better equip that kitchen to serve food better and be able to do more programming. In addition to the kitchen remodel, we'll be making our parking lots more accessible as well, both in the main office and on the farm side. If you've been to Dodge, you've noticed here in the last month or last 2 to 3 weeks, it's a muddy time, and our parking lots take a beating, our vehicles take a beating, our offices take a beating because of all the mud and dirt that gets drug around here. And also it's the first experience when somebody's coming here. So we're going to improve on some of that and really allow people to access Dodge better. Extremely excited about those opportunities. And again, of course, Shepherd Farm. We'll be opening Shepherd Farm here this spring and get some trails open in the public out there to be able to walk the trails, which is exciting. It's a long time coming, but we're there. We're ready for that with the parking lot, the driveway, the restroom, hand washing station, all complete. So looking forward to opening a new community to Dodge. So I'd like to invite Pete back as we could answer some of the questions. And again, this is the time for you to ask us some questions. Put us on the spot if you want to, but more importantly, let's have a conversation here. And I'm going to go through some of the questions now, Pete. This may be directed towards you. What kind of adult programming do you see offering post-COVID? And so I think we're kind of emerging from winter and coming a little bit out of our hibernation. It's been easier to do programs outside when the weather's a little warmer and the weather's a little nicer. We will begin to offer both adult and family programs. Some of the traditional things that we've done before, I hope we'll be able to return to in a modified fashion earlier on, and then expanding that out. And so by this summer, I'm hoping that we've got people gathered safely around Campfire for some campfire programs, a return to Women in the Woods, and then expanding out into as we develop new infrastructure and as we open Shepherd Farm, I can see us offering adult programming, both in that new kitchen, which is exciting, and then being able to gather people out at Shepherd Farm as well. So look for it on our website. At this point, without a great crystal ball, and I just don't have one, knowing what's going to happen 3 months from now when it's hard to even say what's going to happen next week, our best means of communication at this moment is our website and our social media accounts, whether it's Facebook, become a Facebook friend of ours, Instagram, Twitter.
we are constantly updating that, and the people that are running our social media accounts do a great job of portraying all the different things that are going on at Dodge at this moment. And so you can keep up to date just by following us on those. And that's where you're going to find those programs as they come up. And it might be really, you might have to sign up real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think of advertising and how we want to do that. And we right now have some limit on numbers of who can come and signups, and you put that on social media, preferably or most notably Facebook, and those programs fill fast. So timing is key, and sometimes you want a notification if Dodge posts. I know there's a number of families out there that do that. So when life goes back to the new normal, what have we done this year that we may think will continue on into the future?
Oh, virtual programming for sure. And that, like the painting class that Mary Divig and Ashley Johnson developed is a virtual painting class where they paint nature objects. And people have been able to like buy equipment from us. They pick it up outside the door, they take it home, and then they zoom in with Mary and Ashley to learn how to paint a chickadee or how to paint whatever that might be. But I think that virtual programming is going to be something that we continue to do. And but like we've learned a lot of stuff this year, and so we will continue to move forward, both with a mixture of in-person and virtual programming. And that's, I mean, it's just one of those things where now, last year at this time, I would have said no, wouldn't even be a thing. But
yeah, it's fun because you hear some stories with the virtual programming piece, because we have some Dodge fans in California that registered for a program because it was virtual and they wanted to watch it. And being able to be back in the prairie, that they've been in the prairie but haven't been in it for years, was something that meant a lot to them, because they spent a lot of hours here at Dodge when they lived in Minnesota, and they stayed connected. And those things I think will stick with us, because it provides us a chance to reach those folks that maybe aren't necessarily in the metro anymore, and it brings them back to Dodge in a small way. So how does Dodge work with other nature centers in Minnesota?
holy smokes. Well, you can talk about your part, but last fall, I was contacted by some former Dodge naturalists that work now in Prior Lake at the Prior Lake Schools preschool there, and she had gathered a bunch of people from a lot of nature centers across Minnesota to figure out how to support teachers teaching outside. And I got drawn into the group, and that I looked around at familiar faces and a lot of former Dodge employees, honestly. And so we are quite connected, and that's both through alumni and through connections that we've made over the course of time. This year, the Minnesota Naturalist Association conference was all virtual, and so we couldn't gather with people there. But the great part about the Naturalist Association conference is that we see people that we've worked with, we see people that have worked at Dodge, and it ends up being a recruiting spot for being able to see new fellows that might be coming to Dodge in years. So one of our fellows that we are looking at for next year was one that we met at before. So
great. And as for other nature centers, Dodge is a part that actually helped recreate ANCA group, which is the Association of Nature Center Administrators, which is a national organization. And then we helped establish the kind of the state function of that. And we get together, I think the email list is about 80 different organizations from all of Minnesota. And we meet quarterly. Dodge does a lot of hosting of that and plays a role in that. All of us as leaders of Dodge have spent time in those meetings, but more importantly have talked to a lot of other management folks from other nature centers. And as Pete said, you go to those meetings and it's kind of a reunion, because a number of them have been at Dodge at some point in their life, whether it was as a staff, seasonal, volunteer. People gauge what they're doing with what Pete and his team does out of the program department too. We see a lot of similar programs going on at other organizations, which is great, because we've done the same thing. When somebody has a good idea and we can reach others and get them out in nature, that's what it's all about. So we enjoy to do that. And I know I personally spend a lot of time with Carpenter Nature Center Executive Director, Bellwin Nature Center director, and we spend time just kind of talking about, hey, what's going on? What are you hearing in your areas and how can we improve? So those are great conversations, and Dodge is definitely a leader in that. Can I get some maple syrup again this year? Are you doing it this year, or did you have to skip it because of COVID?
Well, once we are able to get people back into our main office and get parents back coming into our preschool, the maple syrup that we made this year, and the season is now over. The trees have opened their flowers and started my allergy season. So maple season is done. We've got a little bit of cleanup to do with some 4-H students that are coming out this weekend, and a group of special needs adults next weekend, or next week, will actually be coming out to learn about maple syruping, and they'll taste the syrup that we made and the sugar that we made and help us to take down the last of the things from this season. But if we can get the main office open safely so that we can have our staff safe and people from the general public coming in safely, we'll sell that maple syrup. If, however, somehow you miss out, then next year, set aside maybe some date in March. I'm hoping it's
March 12th. March 12th, 2022.
For our Dodge pancake breakfast. And so if you didn't get your syrup then from buying it this summer, then you might have to wait till March 12th and come and eat as many pancakes smothered in maple syrup as you can. So.
Absolutely. And it looks like we have one last question here, and I think you touched on it a little bit, but I think it's important to note and call special attention, because it is so important for those coming to Dodge and how we reach folks and how we need support as well. As does Dodge offer scholarships for kids, families, schools that have a financial need?
Yep. And yeah, and I've been working to get that slimmed down and easily done. And this morning, talking with the director for summer programs for preschool with St. Paul Public Schools, I was like, it's on our website. Here's the link. You can apply very quickly and easily. There aren't a whole bunch of questions. And then I can process that quickly. I do the same for families with kids. And so we've got kids that are receiving scholarships to come to our spring break day camps. And we were able to expand this year to do spring break day camp that follows District 197 spring break. And then we offer, I was like, we could do another week that matches St. Paul and Minneapolis public schools. And then that way be able to get more kids in and have more kids that of need, offer scholarships to them and get them into our camps as well. And so, it's a matter of being able to identify a need and being able to get support to those people as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pete. As Pete mentioned, one of the things, and probably the most important thing that has kept him here, is the people. And couldn't be more proud of the staff at Dodge, our volunteers, and you as well. Tonight, you guys took an hour of your Wednesday evening to spend some time with us and to hear about how we have adapted to the pandemic and those that have needed Dodge. And for one thing, the trails have been open. We've seen more and more people walking our trails, and that's been wonderful because people are getting outside, whether it's on our main property or any of our properties. But that continues to grow the Dodge family. You're a part of that family. You're here tonight, you're learning about this, and we hope you take something away that Pete has discussed, or myself, and move forward with that as you go about your day. We want to thank you again for taking the time and look forward to seeing you here at Dodge sometime soon. Be well, everybody. Be safe. Bye-bye.
See you out here.